Hello, I'm Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. That portal has got tech support coming out. They said sometime later this week. Anyway, I wanted to do a reaction video to this guy's Dev Slopes. He's pretty popular. It's got 250K subs. I am not going to give him a subscribe, but you please go do it. I'm going to do a fair use on his material. I was not a fan of what he's doing here. So I want to give it a thumbs down. I'm going to tell you exactly why, and I hope he sees this.
To do this work for you. And the reality is, long down the road, potentially ChatGPT will be able to make a...
All right, here we go.
Being a coder, a grunt worker, I mean, you might as well be a janitor at that point.
What's going
I mean, it's kind of a shitty job in a lot of ways. Plumbing, carpentry, roofing, you're gonna mess your body up somehow, and the work is gonna suck. So, I mean, that's just the job.
on, everybody? Welcome.
Whoever put this thing up, okay, I just want to start off with whoever put this thing out there that this is a glamorous job, someone snowballed you. Coding dev work is fucking grunt work, yo.
Back to DevSlopes. This video,
I'm Gen X, so I'm gonna just I haven't been saying much this whole time, but I'm gonna start saying stuff now because some of these younger people who haven't been around, 2 Chainz, great setup, by the way. I like the setup, super high quality. But the information and what he's given you, woo, we're gonna get into it.
it's kind of something that I'm going to take really seriously, mainly because I stumbled upon this video by TechLead, and a lot of the things that were said really rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it also really rubbed a lot of the people in the comments the wrong way, and I just want...
Right, because you've been told some lies, and TechLead is gonna pop some bubbles. Now, I have issues with TechLead. I started following him around, I don't know, 2017 or so when he just started his channel. He was really tiny. And he was actually putting out quality information. His earlier stuff was actually quite good. But then he started having problems with his wife. And he had to move back into his house. And he started to get on the grift thing. He started his own cryptocurrency. He took a bunch of people's money. He got involved with that algo expert guy and basically ripped off his Toll platform and tried to steal his customers, and then tried to threatened he would sue him if he didn't. So TechLead has had a lot of problems. He went to Japan. I think he got arrested. He was trying to get his kid back. Total simp behavior. Obviously, this guy is super smart. He's in his I'd say 130 IQ range. So he's obviously talented as far as he's got smarts to deal with. But he does the classic autistic thing, thinking that you have mastery in one area, it means you have mastery in all areas, including manipulating people. Just because you can manipulate 90% doesn't mean you can manipulate 100%, senor.
Wanted to bring some light because here's the problem. You have a lot of people within the coding industry, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people that are preaching false information in order to get more views on their channel, in order to...
Correct, because there was a massive boom and massive amounts of low cost money, free money was pumped in and allowed a lot of people who should not have been in the software business be in the business. So that's what happened.
To get more.
And I'm sorry, a kid like you hasn't seen these cycles. I've seen this 3 times now, maybe 4. He hasn't seen it yet. So he thinks there's a coding industry. There is no coding industry. There is no software industry. It's people solving problems with a current set of tools. And if we can do it cheaper and faster and easier or better somehow, some way, your career is over.
More subscribers and in order to get more paid promotions. So I'm not even going to put a link to DevSlopes. I'm not even going to reference DevSlopes. I'm not going to talk about what we do in this video. I'm not going to talk about anything along those lines. I'm just going to get to the facts of what I found to be very wrong in this video that was posted, and it's called "Is Coding
Let's see.
Still Worth It in 2024 as an ex-Google programmer?" Now, a little
okay, I'm just going to say right now, it is worth it, but not in the way that this kid thinks.
backstory on TechLead. TechLead did work at Google for a while. He has credibility in the programming industry, which makes him what would be a very suitable person to become an influencer on YouTube. And a lot of his...
Well, he did have credibility. He did use it. He actually was doing the right thing. For a while, that's how he blew up. But then he was like, I got to monetize this because I have issues in my home life that I don't know how to deal with.
Previous YouTube videos were very, very helpful and very beneficial, but as time has progressed and as what happens to many YouTubers, they get very greedy and money hungry, and I believe that is what happened to TechLead. So,
well, yeah, I mean, that's the classic standard pattern of America, by the way, as well. To start off with something really amazing and great, a bunch of people get collected to it, and then a bunch more people get attracted to it thinking they're going to get that same thing, and it doesn't quite work out that way. It's called a Ponzi scheme. America is built on this kind of shit, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. Most of the ones that got started during the zero interest rate free money days were, guess what? Bad. Yeah.
So right off the bat, in this video, TechLead waits about a minute before he gives you his first sponsor, and that by itself is a little frustrating. But what we get into is what he calls the coding delusion.
All these, what do you think people are doing? Just out of the goodness of their heart, charity? Stop.
And it's basically this concept that people overhype what coding is. He basically says that coding is not what it used to be. So let's watch it.
It's definitely not. It's completely, we're in a change period right now, and it will not look like anything that it looked like before. There is no coding career. That's going bye-bye. The concept that you can just do coding is over. I hate to break it to you. It was a heyday period, and then the free money period, which just made it go into overdrive, and now it's changed again to back to what the actual job is, which is solving people's problems. Maybe not with code. It might be something else. It may be using something. The job is solving people's problems, saving them time, so they'll give you back some time so you can use the time for what you want to do. Yeah, that's how it works.
His first snippet where he talks about what he calls the coding delusion, and I'll give you some reference points.
So, is coding still worth it? It is an unequivocal no, it's not.
Okay, he's being shocking here. He's also trying to get you to the point like, hey, I mean, I can't tell what he's doing. He's sort of like halfway grifting, halfway being edgy, and he's also very depressed. This is a very depressed man. He's been broken by life and thinking that he was the hot shit, and he still doesn't want to let go of his Dunning-Kruger on life. He mastered the computer software. Got it. He kind of figured out the grifting, sort of, but he didn't understand, like, to keep it going, you actually have to deliver what you said. And you can't steal from people. That's not good. People figure that shit out and they just want to work with you. So this guy's depressed now. He's very sad. He knows that his skill that he developed and honed to he's talking to himself right here. And I'm talking to myself as well. The skill he developed to a fine edge that was super laser beam is no longer the thing. And he's fucked up by it.
And so the coding delusion is similar, where a lot of people put coding on this pedestal, viewing it as the gateway to success, whereas really it just leads you down this terrible 9-to-5.
Well, okay, if you look at it as some sort of just career to limited success, yeah. If you're not seeing what's actually going on, which you're just trying to solve other people's problems for cheaper price, that's for less money. I mean, that's all it is. That's what's going on here. And if you think it's anything else other than that, you're probably gonna get caught in this thing, and you're gonna be thinking it's just plumbing toilets out. By the way, plumbers get making quite a bit good money. So do electricians, and they're up in the attic and hot. They're pulling cables through. They cut their fingers up. It's called work. All work sucks. I hate to break it to you, son.
Slug of a job, in which maybe you're getting paid $60K per year, maybe a little bit more, sure. But it was originally
right. Okay, so what he's saying there is like the $60K comes from if you're making $100K and you're putting in 60 hours a week, it's gonna reduce. If you're working weekends and doing 60 or 80 hours a week at a startup, your 120K just went down to 60K. That's what he's trying to point at there.
Viewed as a way to become the next app millionaire, the next Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or Steve Jobs. This is not reality. That was 20 years ago.
Right. That was 20 years ago. For the mega corporations, it's still available now, but you have to take it down a peg, like divide by 10 the number of people, divide by 100, or divide by 1,000. And that's where the new programming gold is. It's down there in the niches, the micro SaaSes, where you can take over some other SaaS, some regular SaaS that's trying to do all things for everybody. You just take a slice of that, and you and your small team do it yourself, and you do it better than them. That's the new apps, okay?
People who are interested in learning how to code, they see something like this, and they get immediately confused and frustrated, and they may even question themselves, why are they even learning how to code? This guy
good. You should question that. And the fact that this guy's saying you should not question that makes this man suspect in my mind, just already suspect. And I do have to say the speech impediment thing, I know some people have a problem with that. Please work on that, sir.
Fails to realize that a lot of people aren't getting in.
It comes off as like, are you trying to hide something, sir?
Into programming in order to become the next Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. A lot of people are getting into programming because they are not fulfilled in the careers that they have right now, and they're looking for a way to get a more fulfilling career and live in.
Okay, the fulfilling career thing. Everybody needs to stop with that shit. You got sold a bill of goods, dude. This whole career thing, there is no career. You have a job that you can try and make into a business that then gives you your time back. There is no career. You're going to have to do multiple things. You can't just do one thing anymore. And because of the AI tools, you will be expected to do multiple things for your customers, not for your employer, for your customers. So this man has the public school mindset, 2 chains, hand tattoos. Are you fucking serious, son? Do you know what you just said to everybody in the world? I can't handle this. This is too much for me. Dude, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry to make fun of you so much, but you need to get your head on straight. There is no career. You are being given charity to work at a business because they have to make more than they're paying them. They have to make, listen, they have to make more from you than they're paying you. So they take a chance on people who look scrappy and kind of like want to do this grunt work without understanding fully what's actually going on. Because if you actually fully understand, because I don't know where this loss of this information happened. It was very clear to me when I went into these businesses when I was a kid, when I started doing these software companies, and it was, hey, we're here to make money. We're trying to take over another business. That's what we're doing. We are trying to take someone else's job. I know it sucks. We were actually taking someone else's career. We were destroying their career. One of the first companies I worked at was a desktop publishing company called Silicon Beats Software, and they made a desktop publishing software and a graphic editing part. And we just thought it was wonderful. We didn't know we were putting out of business thousands and thousands of people, thousands and thousands, and we kind of thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, we're smart enough to figure that to make this little thing replace these people's jobs. It was kind of like a badge of ours. Like, yeah, we're fucking them up. Sorry, you're gonna have to change with the times. So this is when I hear this career talk. This level of understanding of what America is for. America is not set up to be an employee. America will screw you if you continue to be an employee past the point when you're supposed to like figure it out. Like, oh, these fuckers are making so much money off me. I can cut out 90% of these meetings, talk to this person directly, and deliver the value that they wanted to. And I can make 10 times what I'm making now. But they never see that because the people who stay in these organizations are too scared because they look at the downsides like, I might lose. I might make a mistake. That's why you have to do the parallel track. You work a fucking day job and you start launching micro SaaSes along the side. That's how you do it. And yeah, you're going to be working 60 hours a week while this process happens until you until you find your niche. And that's when you can quit this fucking career bullshit and get into business. Business is what America is about. You will be supported if you're in business. You will have all the benefits and not all this, my career. It's like, no, I don't give a shit. We're making money. That's the whole point. We're taking people's jobs. I'm buying my money back. I'm giving products that give people time, and I'm taking that little piece of that time back for me. So in a few years, I won't have to deal with any of this crap. I'm out of here.
More fulfilling lifestyle. They don't look at code.
More fulfilling lifestyle. Look, man, if you want to do the employee lifestyle and get bled to death and complain all the time like this guy about my work environment, this is what's set up for you. So you have to join the 1099 superior race, become an independent contractor, or do the micro SaaS route, use all these AI tools that are now available, and forget this coding thing. It's just an implementation detail. And yeah, you're gonna have to still do a lot of that shit. Just because the AI tools are available, there's still gonna be a need for someone to like tell the machine what to do and then modify it after it's produced the thing. Come on, guys.
Coding to be the next Silicon Valley star and build giant robots. They look at coding as a way to help benefit their lifestyle to where maybe.
Right. That's the whole point. Yes, correct. The whole point is to benefit the lifestyle. So you can like do the minimum employee bullshit and you'll try and do your coding thing, your coding career, or you can wake up and say, oh, America is about business. I gotta learn about business. You don't quit your job and jump in. You wait till you get something else that's generating as much income as your current job, and then you start doing that. Come on. You can bootstrap this stuff, guys. You don't need to find investors even.
maybe they can spend more time with their family, spend more time doing what they love. And
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yes. Yes, the owners of the business, that's what they're doing. And guess who they're making pay for all that? And they're paying you the minimum to keep you there so they can have time for their stuff while you do the stuff that they don't want to do. Does this not making sense?
make more money while doing it. And the other thing that's frustrating is he touches on the salaries just a little bit, maybe making $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and that is completely untrue. If we were to take a look at the average React developer salary in the US, we can see the average salary is about $88,000.
Okay, so you're putting in 80 hours a week, 60 hours a week at these startups, 55 hours a week. Do the math, please, sir.
$80,000 in average. Let's take a look at ZipRecruiter. If we take a look at the average React developer salary, we can see that the average salary sits around $129,000 a year. But
yeah, I don't know about that right now. It's definitely been knocked down quite a bit. So these stats are a little bit skewed.
we'll even go lower.
But even then, the inflation rate is totally eating all this stuff away. So you have to get on the other side of that somehow.
8% of jobs, $93,000 to $104,000 a year. And the reason I bring up React is because he mentions React in this video, but the way he does it is so disrespectful to the people.
Right, because React isn't actually programming. You're still at a higher level abstraction used by a social media company who has overhyped their technology. There's another technology that's they're using called web components that goes down a layer that will not change. React is constantly fluxing, changing, making the back end, front, everything. You don't need all that crap. There's another way of doing things. And this kid thinks that React is programming. It's not. It's coding. It's sort of like, it's pseudo programming. I guess you could do programming. I mean, it's CRUD operations. It's not really. You couldn't write React in React, right? You wouldn't be able to write React with React. That's what gives me like, you need to go down one level. And the fact that you're afraid to do that, or don't think it's or that you are offended by someone saying that React, you're not really you're not doing the systems level, you're at the applications level stuff. It's more like a scripting language on top of script language, and it's always changing, and you're always having to update it, and you're always chasing that latest update, and you're using a lot of resources to support someone else's effort to market their business. I mean, there's other ways of doing things, sir. Just because you learn React and like made some money with it doesn't mean that that's the end. React is about to be over. You can look, Google is about to replace all that stuff with web components. I mean, the web components, they don't change. There's going to be a standard. It's going to be there forever. And you can rely on it, and you don't have to chase the update dragon. So there's all this stuff coming out there like this. React was for a time. React showed us a way to write these applications. Now it's built into the browser. People don't know this. It's so sad that you get caught in these hype cycles. And this kid is obviously, this young man, 2 Chainz, he is caught in the hype cycle. You need to get out of that. You need to take a step back. I've been in the hype cycle. Like I've seen so many. I started programming when I was 7 years old on a PDP-11. They thought that was the most amazing thing ever. Teletype, typewriter. I was like, God, you can actually type programs in and have it run without using card decks. And so I've seen all this stuff go through and through. But really the bottom line is we're using whatever thing is available, whatever techniques that I can figure out and the people I can get associated with to solve problems for money. For profit. We don't care about career. What are you talking about, career? It's called being a human. Like, I'm just a problem solver. I buy my time. And as soon as I get some time, I'm going to take my time and use my finite time on this planet for what I want to do. Dude, what are you doing? Fulfillment, career. What are you talking about?
People that spend hours upon days upon years putting their effort into learning how to.
Yeah, it's constant. Hey, if you don't like learning, if you really think if you don't like that, dude, if you think that's hurtful or some sort of like that's extra. No, that's the job, dude. It's constant because you want to know what? There's a whole bunch of people who are not complaining about this, who actually like learning all this crazy shit and then trying to apply it for money. Yeah, not for career, fulfillment, for money to get our fucking time back.
Code. So let's watch this video where he talks about how programming is not high status.
Status is everything. It's not exactly high status work.
I mean, when I was growing up, I came up, this was me. I was that guy. But it definitely changed status now, and it's definitely high status now. So if you want to get into a micro status or start a status, you have to have another founder. You have to have a technical founder, which is me and you, right? We know how to make this shit work. We know how to make shit work. We know how to ask the right questions to make this shit work, whether it's React, web components, fucking anything, whatever it is, whatever the thing is, we're going to figure it out because we're learners. We like to do, that's our battlefield. We love to do that shit. So, and then you need someone else that's a non-technical founder who can talk to the finance people, do the marketing thing, look at the segments, find out the details of that market segment, and know that we're trying to solve problems, not just trying to get funding and an exit. We're actually trying to solve real people's problems. That's this new phase. We're gonna go after a niche. We're gonna identify a SaaS that's already making money, and then we're gonna find a niche inside that SaaS, and we're gonna fucking nail it. That is the new that's the new gold rush, guys. So it's not high status because you don't see these people. They are working quietly, and they are making money quietly. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, micro SaaS, you can look it up. There's a ton of people making a ton of money, and they are superstars in their own companies. They don't give a fuck about whoever doesn't see it. Because they're serving their customers, they're buying their time. They are getting their time back. They are giving so much value, they're getting their time back. So this is the new gold rush, and you're not going to hear about it until it's already kind of over, like everything else.
Status work would be the type of job that you would want to do even if you were rich. Something like, say, directing a movie, being an actor, maybe being a novelist or a painter, something that would get you some social credit.
Okay, that's the new thing. You're going to use all those tools, and you're going to be all these things.
Everything. It's not exactly
you're going to be
high status work.
Things.
High status work would be the type of
here. You're gonna be authoring. You're gonna be authoring. You're gonna be directing. You're gonna be directing, right? Because you're gonna promote your own stuff enough to get somebody else up to speed to do it for you. And then you're gonna be writing because you're gonna be documenting. You're gonna be making websites. These are all gonna be AI assisted tools. And then you're also going to be direct. You're gonna be doing all these things.
Something that would get you some social credibility.
And the social credibility comes from delivering value to your niche, to your customers, and you're delivering a value that they want at a price that's affordable, that does what they want. Or they're not affordable if it does something killer way better than somebody else, or just more fun or more interesting or easier to access or less friction. There's so much room for look at all the stuff we use all the time. Everything is open for improvement.
Being a coder, a grunt worker.
Okay, the grunt work, you still have to do that. Now, AI has offloaded a lot of this work, so you don't have to be a freaking autist on every single detail, but you're still going to be swabbing toilets. And you want to know why? Because that's your value. That's where you bring the value, because who wants to swab toilets? I don't want to be down swabbing toilets, but I know how to swab toilets really well. I know how to put the gloves on. I know how to put the glasses on. I know how to put the protective wear and to get in there, and I know how to automate it. So I'm not doing it. I'm just sending a robot in there. This is not making sense. Who gives a shit about coding?
I mean, you might as well be a janitor at that point.
That is just so disrespectful. That is
yes, because it's actually true, and it's slapping you in the face, kid. Because this is the reality, and he's trying to help you. I know he's being a dick about it, and oftentimes he's wrong, and I don't think he's what he's done with his life is good. But I like these hot takes because it slaps these kids so they can realize, hey, what's actually going on, not the marketing hype. 2 chains.
That is just so disrespectful to anybody in the industry wondering if they should learn how to code. You're basically saying, don't learn how to code, become an actor instead. Let's look at a really...
Yes, you will have to become an actor and a coder and a director and a photographer and a cinematographer, and it's all super accessible, and you have to be all of them. So get used to it. Oh, it's going to be hard. Oh, it's going to be hard.
Standpoint of somebody looking to change their careers and become a developer in order...
Stop with this career stuff. It's all the things, man. It's not one thing anymore. It's all the things.
To live a life where they can spend more time with their families.
Yeah, eventually. But during this period when you're trying to make your maximum impact, you have so much competition doing what I'm telling you right now that you got to put your all into it. And you may have to sacrifice your family. That's why doing this while you don't have a family is optimal. And if you do have a family, you got to let them know, hey, this is a thing we got to do for our future time. When I will have more time. That's one way of doing it. But the other way is to slow boat it through and be an employee and try and like make the best of it and deal with the whole career kids. That's the other way. And it's like, which style do you want to do it? Sometimes these things are not your decision, and sometimes they are.
What the hell does status have to do with that?
If you haven't figured it out, yeah, it's pretty important, Mr. 251K subscribers.
And comparing it to something as simple as a janitor shows that the people that spend hours, like I said before, hours upon hours trying to learn how to code and put in the time and effort, they essentially just get disrespected by this guy saying,
who gives us, nobody cares how much time you put in. Nobody cares. I know this is hard for you Gen Z kids. Nobody gives a fuck how much time you put into it. Nobody cares the reason why the janitor is there. Maybe the janitor likes that work. Maybe people leave him the fuck alone. Maybe he has a guaranteed income and he gets to go home and play with his kids and not worry about any of this bullshit. You ever think about that? You ever think about maybe he already made his money and he likes cleaning toilets? There are people in this world, believe it or not, who actually like that work, who found it fulfilling and meaningful because you're making a place look nice and clean for other people. Hello, sir.
you're basically a janitor. So right about at the
Yeah, and I appreciate janitors. Sir, are you looking down on janitor? Are you disrespecting janitors, sir, who keep your place clean that you pay for? You obviously value them. I don't think you clean your own place, do you? Stop, guy. This is the attitude that will keep this man poor.
3-minute mark, we get another promotion after he talked about the coding delusion, where he's promoting a keyboard.
Now, by the way, you may be wondering, what is this
Yes, you're allowed to promote things. There's nothing wrong with promoting things. He's allowed to make a buck on YouTube. Now, whoever follows him, understanding where he's coming from, that's on them, because he's unless he's hidden his stuff. But it's like really hard. It's not hard to find out about this stuff about TechLead. Yes, he's allowed to make a buck, as you are, sir, on Dev Slopes, making a buck. What are you talking? This is America, man. What are you talking? This is the world. This is commerce is what makes it happen. So quit disrespecting another man's grifter.
beautiful mechanical keyboard on my desk?
Live. And you're making a topic and you're just flaunting your promotions and your sponsorships. This is just downright.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? That's how it works, ding dong. What do you think this is? Is it a charity event? Is that what we're doing? We're doing charity events now? That's good.
Disgusting.
The landscape has changed so much. People are no longer downloading apps or visiting websites.
True. There's consolidating for the mass. The mass is consolidating, but there are niches who they don't give a fuck if it's an app, it's a website. They can a dog on a leash coming by, a ball of xenon gas getting flashed with a laser. They don't care which package it comes from. If you put a little button on their side of their dryer that orders them, they don't give a fuck how it happens. They don't give a shit whether there's a React in there or some backend's written in Kotlin or a PHP. They don't care. They just want to hit the button and the detergent shows up in a couple days. Yeah, so these mass apps, yes, but these micro niche apps, these very niche things that are totally available all over the place for, instead of having a team of 30 people, you have a team of 3 or 2 or 1 or 5, and you take over a market that used to be taken over, that used to be run by 300 people. You're now doing it with 5 or 10. That's what I'm talking about.
Most internet
Who gives a shit about coding?
usage is now consolidated into the top.
It's important. Don't get me wrong. It's important, but it's not going to be the most important thing. Understanding the big picture and how you fit into it. And if you're in a place where you don't know enough yet, you go work for somebody else and you listen and pick up on everything they're doing, because you could go do your own thing with the same set of skills. Okay, not their thing. Be careful about that. You can get in trouble with that. But seeing the style, like how do you do this? How do you do that? It's like eventually you get a stack of skills that allows you to have your own business.
Top 5 to 10 top.
And coding is important. It is important. I'm not saying it's not. It took me a long time to acquire those skills. But now with the ChatGPT, you do have to understand the code and how it interacts with everything else, like a higher level functionality, and how it applies to your use case for your customer and gives them the most value. You got to understand that part. But the leak code shit, that's over. We don't need that leak code. Now, the leak code thinking of how to structure your structure, like how to structure an application, that's actually not leak code. That's like the bottom level. Leak code's like the bottom level stuff. Like having a higher level architecture of how things are put together in the way it allows it to be the most extensible, the easiest to onboard, the easiest to understand, reads like English, that type of style of thing. That's where the new things, because machines don't care what the code looks like. It'll run freaking machine languages. That's what it's running underneath. It's just almost ones and zeros, ons and offs. So it doesn't care. But when you're writing code for other humans to read, update, expand on, that's a whole other skill set. that only you have to acquire that with time and making a lot of errors. The ChatGPT helps a little bit, but because it copies the style that you're already using, it's kind of you do have to have this higher level thinking, and that's where that's not going to go away anytime soon.
Social media applications like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Maybe that's about it.
He talks about how 90% of the time people are on the internet to use a certain percentage of apps that are already out there. He fails to understand that there are jobs outside of just FANG companies. And that can be frustrating because people are looking at this. People are looking to understand what is happening in the coding job market. And they're seeing things like this. And they're worried, wow, if I can't get a job at Apple, I'm basically learning how to code for no reason. And that is just not the case.
Yeah, I would avoid the big FANG companies at this point because what they've had is a lot of people who who didn't have the competency and wanted to learn have had come in. And a lot of the core people who built those businesses have gone off to do their own startups. So it's like blindly in the blind, which is one of the reasons why we've had such turmoil in the software industry lately, and lots of competing technology that kind of all does the same thing.
However, on these social media websites, you now have code influencers who essentially are people who can't code, who have never coded in their lives. Maybe they're React developers, and they're just selling
That's pretty funny, actually.
the dream that maybe you can be a cool programmer or software engineer.
Some coding influencers are saying things that honestly just lead people to false hope. And I completely agree. But what he doesn't seem to even understand is that he does the exact same thing.
At least he gives you so a lot of things that these autists don't understand about TechLead is he's got a very, very dry sense of humor and very dark sense of humor and lots of like inside jokes. So if you just get on his material briefly, if you haven't like followed him for a while, you won't understand his humor, and it does sound pretty harsh. But often there's a reason he's doing it, even though he is grifting. He's often doing it to like he's in his own way, like, hey, guys, you may have to do more than just learn React now. You may have to go expand out and actually learn about business and what people want and how to talk to people and how to do video and how to make a website real quick.
Fails to understand that what he's doing himself is exactly the thing that he's talking shit about in this video.
These code influencers will continue to sell you this Ponzi dream scheme of an idea that coding will somehow make you rich, setting you free when in reality that is far from the case. Coding itself has become a Ponzi scheme.
Yes, I could see that. I mean, all businesses are Ponzi schemes. Sorry to break it to you. You always have to have more coming in than going out. And you always have to have more customers come in than going out. Otherwise, you stagnate. And if you stagnate, you might as well be dying. So welcome to America. Business in America is set up this way. And these people here, they could actually tell you what they're doing. And these people, because of the structure of the society, how it's been set up with the public indoctrination system, will never believe it. They just think this guy has some kind of secret insider information. And the only thing this guy knows is, I can't do everything. I need to find people who can do things for me that I could charge my customers more than I'm paying these people. That is it. I know it's hard to accept. It's difficult to want to when it's put in these terms, but I'm trying to help you.
Now, I understand this to an extent. Coding's not going to make you rich. Everyone understands that coding is not what it used to be. And people understand that you're not going to become the next Mark Zuckerberg. And people aren't looking.
You could be the micro Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, that's totally possible. I've definitely done it. I did it before I knew anything about all this crap. There are niches all over the place. And if you can learn enough coding, and enough of these other skill sets, you can take a little bit of somebody else's lunch. That's what we're doing in America. We're trying to do it at a lower cost and serve the customer better. That's what the game is.
For that. People are looking for just an entryway into tech to where they can make good salaries, take care of their families, and still live decent and more beneficial lifestyles. It isn't about building the next Netflix or the next Apple. It's about
so that whole thing about yes, I understand. They want to get a career, to have a lifestyle, but you understand there's an employee lifestyle which is going to continue to degrade as we have more and more people come in and competing for the same jobs. But as an owner, the cost of labor is going down, and you can charge your customers the same amount and buy your help less. Does this not no? Okay.
Giving people the opportunity to learn how to code and change their lives, even if it's in the sense of to where they have more.
Okay, that was a brief moment in time when we had extremely low interest rates, where people were doing lots and lots of charity work, that's over now. And for the next 5 years, it's going to be rough going. And you may as well accept it and try to leverage what I'm talking about here for your own benefit.
More time to spend with their kids and families. And so
Yeah, I get it. Kids and families, yes. Careers, yes. That's a head fake. You have to understand there is no careers, it's just business. And if you want to do the employee thing, you're going to get the employee results, which is a lot of bitching and moaning about the workplace.
I understand not preaching that this is going to be your gateway to success, but it's the same way when you flip it. You can't preach that coding is a complete hellhole and you shouldn't do it.
I mean, that's a pretty good warning. If you've been in the business for a while, it's plumbing, man. You're dealing with shit. Somebody else's pile of shit, usually. If you're not starting from scratch. And if you're starting from scratch, it's your pile of shit. So yeah, it's plumbing, man. And what's wrong with plumbers, man? What does this guy have against plumbing? You ever unplugged a toilet? Have you ever successfully unplugged a toilet? It's like, wow, I just did something pretty amazing. I'm not afraid of toilets. What are you afraid of toilets for, son?
So now we get to hear what he says about React developers. And the reason I bring this up is because it really is demotivating for a lot of people who feel like they put in so much effort into learning how to code and learning how to get this lifestyle that they want. And when you...
Yeah, okay. That's over now, son. Sir. The fact that you're trying to go for the lifestyle means you were going after the marketing that was sold to you by organizations that were trying to max. They couldn't find enough people, so they wanted to get draw in as many people as possible, employees as possible. They didn't want any competitors. That was the other thing too. They didn't want any competitors, so they had to draw all the people who ever thought they might compete against Google into Google, keep them there, while Google built their market share to the point where there's no way that any of these people, once they leave, would actually compete with Google. And he's talking about careers and families and lifestyles. You understand, this is a bigger game going on here. It's actually it's harsh as fuck to understand that this is what America is. But once you understand what it is, all this stuff it becomes clear. The disrespect and React and coding, who gives a fuck? We're trying to take somebody else's lunch. That's what we're doing.
You say things like what he's about to say here, you really just make him feel like shit.
Sorry, the truth is hurting. The truth hurts. Especially if you've been under delusions, dude. Like hand tattoos are a good idea. The fact that you're under a delusional thing that says, oh, I'm going to get a career and a good lifestyle and the family and all. You missed it. Sorry, you got suckered, buddy.
Just make him...
You got taken by the Ponzi scheme. You got taken by the marketing. Let's go over that.
How to get this lifestyle that they want. And when you say things like what he's about to say here, you really just make them feel like shit. You really just make them feel like they don't have the smarts or wits.
They may not. They may not. Is that the truth, though? I know it hurts. I know you think that everyone can do coding, but they can't. Not everyone wants to do that either. I mean, dude, some people are okay with plumbing. Some people are okay with being a janitor. You obviously hate it. Okay.
And maybe it's because he's an ex-Google employee. Maybe it's because he thinks he has all this credibility and he's the smartest developer out there. But nonetheless...
No, that's not it. That's not it. It's a gimmick, a marketing gimmick that actually is pretty smart because people are attracted to controversy and they want to know another way of looking at things that's not the freaking same shit they've heard 1,000 times.
It still takes time and it's still difficult to learn how to code, even if that's as simple as becoming a React developer.
So, who cares? I don't care how long it takes. I do not care how long it takes that baker to bake my freaking little croissant. I don't care how long it takes the coffee maker to pick it and roast it and put it. I don't care. When I pay my $5 or whatever for my coffee, I want it now. I don't care where it came from. I don't care who made it. I don't care how much time they put in. I don't care how much they even suffered. This is America. What are you doing, dude? What do you think this is?
Let me tell you something about React. React is the language of the slaves. It was originally developed...
That's so funny because it is super simplified and it abstracts all the way a lot of stuff that you really should know. If you're gonna be a good React developer, you gotta go to the base layer. You got to know the HTML, the CSS. You cannot skip it. You cannot know how all this stuff interacts. And now with how they've got it all set up with all this front end, back end, front end, back end, back end, front end, front end.
By Facebook.
They abstract so much away that you are now stuck in their ecosystem, and they change it all the damn time without any good reason. They're always deprecating shit. It's like, oh, this is the most greatest thing ever. Oh no, it's the worst thing ever. This is the greatest thing ever. The most thing ever. And all they're doing is putting abstraction layers on top of this stuff that's already in the browser. And I've tried to tell this to developers, React developers. It's like, hey, you can skip this whole update cycle every 3 to 6 months by just doing web components. You could just do web components and skip all that and have the same shit? No? Never heard of it? Oh, you never heard of it. Wow. So you just believe the marketing hype from Facebook. Oh, okay.
Facebook for its mass army of junior engineers who could not develop at all and who had no.
Yeah, they had to do that. They had free money. They were either going to take the money or somebody else is going to take the money. And they were going to suck up these developers who they know it's technically, there's like 5 guys over here who are pushing the whole load. And they wouldn't get this 5 guys over here without all of these useless ding-dongs. It's harsh to hear it. This is the truth.
Logic or reasoning at all. I mean, these people they messed up all the time, and so they needed a language that was impossible to mess up in. And so the reality is, if you're
that's not true.
React developer, which so many people are, you're not actually a real software engineer or developer because you're not putting to use any algorithms or data structures, and there is no career path to anything higher than that. You're basically
true. There's no career path. You don't get. I mean, React is a dead end. It's sort of like it is super grunty work, and it is all front end. There's no algorithmic, so you're never gonna really dig in and do a real business use case just with React. So he's kind of right.
Real software engineer or developer because you're not putting to use any algorithms or data structures, and there is no career path to anything higher than that. You're basically doing the job of an automaton slave that eventually ChatGPT will be able to do for us.
Learning it's not wrong.
How to code is so much more than just being a top level developer who can solve anything and has the perfect brain and has an IQ of 800 plus.
No, you don't need 800 plus IQ. You don't even have to be autistically aware of all the details anymore.
It's just not realistic. It's not realistic. And by telling people this,
it is with AI. It is. A lot of stuff's going to be dude. It already is. I wonder I don't know what Dev Slopes does. I really haven't looked into his thing. Is he a coding school or something?
You're essentially telling them that they don't have the wits and that they have no right to call themselves a developer, when in reality that's not the case because they still went through the exact same struggles to get where they are. Now,
no, that's not it. Nobody gives a shit whether you're a developer, an engineer, whether you cook oil in the back room and fry up little samosas and do a mango lassi. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit what your title is. Are you giving them something that they want? Are you giving your customers something they want that's better than some alternative in some way that's important to your customer? Is that it? Oh, you are? Then you're good. If you're not, I don't care.
Now, he says ChatGPT will be able to do this work for you. And the reality is, long down the road, potentially ChatGPT will be able to make a lot of programming solutions easier. But it doesn't mean you're not going to need programmers.
Right. Okay. True. This is true. ChatGPT is going to do it already does most of the shit, but you do have to know how it works, right? You do have to know how it works. And so last year I didn't know how iOS worked. This year I know the basic 20% Dunning-Kruger to make it work with Compose. And I didn't use Stack Overflow. I barely took any tutorials. I just used ChatGPT on the Android side. So I realized that ChatGPT would work inside of Android Studio with the Code Pilot, and I just used that. So I didn't even have to learn it. I still have to know how code works. I still have to know the structures and how the overall ideas of what it's working with, what a VStack is, an HStack is, and a task. But those are all translatable to Android. It's like almost one-for-one direct translatable. So it's like once you learn one, you kind of learn a lot of them, and it's all a lot of stuff's being abstracted away. That's why I'm into KMP, because you have one language for the front, the back, on iOS, on Android, on the web. If you want, I wouldn't recommend that. I use TypeScript or JavaScript with what's that, JSDoc. That's awesome. And use web components. It's almost the same stuff as the Compose stuff. So the Compose stuff, the iOS Swift stuff, it's almost all the same stuff now. It's like they're all, and the thing I really like about using JetBrains Kotlin is that everything works together. All the serialization library works the same on iOS, works the same on Android, works the same on the backend, works the same on the web. So it's actually pretty awesome time because we don't need to use React anymore.
And just because you
And that's going to be like that the whole time. So that's why being a developer, you're still going to have to keep up with these technological changes, and you're going to be like the technical side of things. And if you learn enough business stuff, you can actually do it on your own. But you're going to kind of eventually want someone to do that for you or with you. So it's a co-founder thing. It's going to be the same model that made all these people famous, the Zucks and all the eBays and all the Amazon, all that same stuff. But it's now going down 2 levels, right? So instead of going to the world and the nation, you're going to your city and your neighborhood, and you're finding your niche in those areas. And then once you find your niche in that city and neighborhood, then you can go out to the nation, right? But in that niche. Does that make sense?
learn React doesn't mean ChatGPT is going to take your job. No, you need to be able to optimize yourself, which we talk about in so many videos. You need to be able to optimize yourself in a way to where you can use ChatGPT and use tools like AI to help put you in a better position within the industry.
It's also relevant to note, I'm one of the few software engineers who will actually tell you this because I'm able to step out of my role. Most other developers and people in Silicon Valley have their heads stuck in the grounds and they completely miss the social media revolution. They miss the no-code solutions, still thinking that STEM degrees are the path to success.
Now, this is almost the most frustrating part of the video because what he does is he singles himself out as the know-it-all.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he is a know-it-all. He's a very arrogant prick, but he's also letting you kind of know that the age of the degree, especially with what the degrees meant in the past 10 years or so, the computer science departments have not been keeping up at all. At all. Even the boot camps cannot keep up. The only way you can keep up is you learn the basics and just start grinding into like making stuff, not leak code. Do not grind leak code. Make stuff. And if you don't know what to make, go find somebody a project that do them for free. Go to a restaurant or some local business and try and build their solution for free if you don't know how to do it. And through that process, you're going to figure it out. You're not going to make any money on that part, but you have to pay your dues at some point. Everybody has to pay their dues. All the shortcuts, sir, all have an ending. They work for a little while and then they don't. And that's what we have to remember is we have to remember as engineers, problem solvers, our tools are constantly going to change, especially with software. But the communicating with the customer, figuring out what they want, delivering it in a way that they want, that is the skill that will never go away because humans change all the time and they want different things for different reasons. And it's super interesting and fun when you discover this because you can get out of this, you're disrespecting my work.
As the know-it-all. And
That attitude is terrible. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. That's the thing. I guess this kid is like maybe Gen Z or something because he's like super about, I need the respect. I need to be seen. I need the participation trophy. It's like, no. The participation trophy is you get to step away from society and do whatever the fuck you want with your own time. That is the participation trophy. And it's very difficult to get. That's why it's hard. And this person would rather bitch about it than say, okay, look, you have to solve problems. Whatever that is going to be, that's what you want to be doing.
I understand that there is validity to him being an ex-Google employee and him having credibility in FANG companies and having credibility as a developer. But
okay, that stuff that may meant something at some point. It doesn't mean anything now. What have you done for me lately?
don't set yourself out as you know everything.
Why not? Why not, sir? Do you know everything? Are you putting yourself out there like you know everything? Why? How do you know he doesn't know everything? Do you know everything?
And that you are the best possible person to come for these resources. Because
yeah, why not? It's his channel. Wouldn't you with 251,000 subscribers, don't you want your audience to come for you for the best information? Sir, got this guy.
people look at this, people watch your content, people consume your content and hope to find the truth in what you're saying. And when you
just like they do for you, it's like they do for me right now. What are you talking about, dude?
tell lies and single yourself out to know everything about the industry, what does that say? What does that do for the people who are looking to make better lives for themselves?
It means that you may have a different take it in, use it where first it's useful, and if not, move on. If you think TechLead is just trying to screw you up, leave. If you don't understand his sense of humor, and it's dark, and it's also very capricious, and he's trying to provoke reactions to make you think about things, maybe crack through crack through a level of understanding about the world and what we're doing in it, sir.
So guys, I don't even need to feel like I need to even go for it. Other than the fact that if you look in his bio, he didn't even have the audacity to take out his ace coding interviews, promotions, and free days.
He's still grifting on that. Good for him. If people don't want to go look into people's past and they just want to like take everybody at face value, okay. Anyway, I just wanted to do a react to that video. I thank you for listening. I'm Chris.